All right, so my first question to you, I would love for you to stand up if you've ever been promoted into the role of a manager. Anybody been promoted into people management? All right, we've got pretty much most of the room. I would like for you to stay standing if you received training, coaching, support and tools prior to your commencement into management. For some reason, management is the one role where we don't really prepare people for it well enough. And I think we can all relate to how challenging the role of being a manager is. If we think about the journey to management, we know it's typically one of three things that led you there. The first one was, we love to promote our strongest individual contributor, our highest performers. It's our best salesperson, our best analyst. And we go, hey, we're going to make you a manager. That sounds really logical, doesn't it? Now, our second option, sometimes we see large amounts of turnover in a team. Don't know if any of you have faced this. And there's typically one person left. They have outlasted, outwitted, and outsurvived, like an episode of Survivor. And we go, you know what? Last person standing, you win. You are now the manager. And our third option, we see self-nomination. We put our hand up and we say, you know what? I think I can do that people management thing. Can't really be that hard. And when we think about the journey for managers, and I'd like for you to think back to that time, particularly when you first became a manager, what were you feeling? I know when I'm talking to first-time managers, there's almost a sense of grief for some of them because they're having to give up parts of their role that they really and deeply enjoyed, and they've got to make space for this people management. Or, it is worse, sometimes we say, keep doing the things you love and manage a team, right? And many of us might have faced that. Secondly, we know there's this sense of worry. So I was an individual contributor. My success and the way I was rewarded was based on my own performance. But now, for me to be successful, I have to get this entire team of humans to actually achieve their goals and targets. How am I going to do that? That's actually a really big task to ask of someone. So we know there's lots of feelings and emotions that are going to come up for those first-time managers. The other key thing we hear all the time is, I feel really underprepared. I don't know what I'm going to face. I don't know anything about this team, and I'm going to just wing it. Yeah, because that's what we typically do in people management. We'll work it out as we go along. And this is how we have created the accidental manager. We need to really think about how we shift this, because you've heard from earlier today, managing in 2025 and in this era is probably the most complex era of management, right? It just got a whole lot harder. Kylie just said that. It's not what it was like 20 years ago. We're now looking at employees who want belonging. They want purpose. They want connection. They want to be motivated by their manager. There is so much we have to consider. We've got AI. We've got 5 generations in the workplace. This is more complex than ever, right? And we have to equip our managers with those skills. We also know that middle management in particular is the greatest risk of burnout in your business. There's been lots of studies that have come out around this. One in particular by PI out of Boston indicated 78% of middle managers surveyed rated themselves at risk of burnout. This is pretty serious. Scarily, 80% of their executives agreed. I don't know if they're doing anything about it, but so we know there's a huge amount of pressure for managers. It's complex, there's pressure. And lastly, when we create all of this, we put your strategy at risk. And that's what we're all here to do, right? Particularly as HR leaders. We're here to protect the strategy. Because people execute strategy. Strategy doesn't just get up and execute itself. It doesn't just pick itself off the piece of paper. People have to go and execute that strategy. If we don't have enabled, empowered managers who can go and transcend those messages down to their teams and inspire performance, your business strategy will absolutely be at risk. So there is a huge amount of pressure for these managers. So how are we going to move from this accidental manager journey where we're so used to seeing over to intentional management? The first thing we have to stop doing, we have to stop managing behaviors. can see you all looking, that is a weird thing for me to say. Because we're very good at managing behaviours. But I guess think of it this way. Have you ever tried to manage someone's behaviour only for them to revert back to old behaviours? Yes, I was also in HR for a very long time, right? Now, the reason that doesn't work is because the behaviour is triggered by something underneath the surface. And that's what we call needs and drivers. If we don't understand where that behaviour comes from, we're never really going to get any success trying to manage this behaviour up at the top. We need to understand what sits underneath the surface. And this is our needs-based approach. We can understand someone's needs if we start to look at things like the data and science behind workplace behaviours. Once we understand what really drives and motivates you as an individual, we can tap into that. And that's really the challenge for managers, isn't it? They've got a whole team of people and everyone needs to be managed differently. That is a huge challenge. We give them this standard management training and wonder why it doesn't stick. What we need to do is we need to move to a combination approach. We need to look at, yes, modern management training. That is absolutely key because a lot of the management training out there, it is incredibly outdated. We need to look at modern management programs. We then need to look at the tools that we give our managers. We need to look at the data and science behind each and every member of their team and say, how do we equip you with this insight? Those two things separately don't work on their own. We must combine both. So that training, that knowledge, that insights, combined with the data and science, then we can apply it in the workplace. And now we start to move managers from a state of confusion and overwhelmed to a state of feeling very enabled and confident. So imagine a workplace, instead of people leaving because of their manager, they're staying because of their manager. They're staying because their manager understands them, understands how to bring the best out in them. Ultimately, this journey, it starts with all of you here today. I would love for you to scan the QR code. So this is my gift to you that I was mentioning earlier. I would love for you to learn more about yourself, learn about what drives and motivates you. This only takes 5 to 6 minutes to complete. So don't take it while people are presenting, but maybe in a break over coffee, or sit out and look at the amazing view. But this will give you insights into what drives and motivates you, right? That real deep self-awareness. So being a manager isn't just about managing tasks. It's about truly understanding your people. So my question for all of you is, how well do you really know yourself? Thank you.